Hello everyone, I'm Dhatri Chandramouli Yashoda, SAP consultant from Crypt Inc. Crypt is a leading SAP supply chain execution and compliance consulting services partner. Our focus is on helping businesses leverage the supply chain execution suite to gain a competitive advantage and increase their bottom line by offering services that include implementations, upgrades, and support. It is a one-stop shop for GTS, GRC, TM, EWM, and EM. Our consultants bring global knowledge and experience from over 10 industries. We have over 300,000 hours of consulting experience in SAP GTS, GRC, SCE. We have also provided solutions to various industries like chemical, finance, life sciences, wholesale, etc. We have a product named Whisker. It is a BI solution for supply chain operations. It can be connected with SAP components including GTS, EWM, TM, EM, etc. It can also be connected with non-SAP systems. As a part of Whisker implementation, we design, deploy, and manage the product, which mainly includes project planning, system design and implementation, post-go-live production support. For more information, please visit our website or send us an email at callcrypt@cryptinc.com. A demo will be presented by our SAP consultant on the following topic.
Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Naveen Nadapurohit, Lead SAP Transportation Management Consultant with Crypt Incorporated. In this ready-to-run Crypt demo series for SAP TM, today I will be taking you through the topic of Airway Bill ID generation. We will be using SAP TM 9.1 solution for the system demo. This is the agenda of the topics that we will be covering in the today's session. Initially, we will be going through the process overview, that is the business use case or the purpose of this functionality in the TM solution. Then we will be going through the customizing and the different master data setup that will be needed in order to make this scenario work in the system. The next is process demo. And finally, we will be having the summary of the things that we have learned and then the contact details to contact the Crypt Incorporated. So first is the process overview. So the airway bill ID generation is of two types. The first is the house airway bill ID generation that happens between the freight forwarder and the shipper or the ordering party, and then the master airway bill generation, which happens between the freight forwarder and the transportation service provider, that is the carriers, who will be physically transporting the goods. Now, the main purpose of this particular functionality is that you should have a unique tracking ID which will help the end user to see the current location or the real-time situation of the goods that are in transit or during the shipment process. Like for example, being an ordering party, if I have transported goods from Bombay to Bangalore, an intermediate location is Pune or some other location wherein the shipment will be loaded or unloaded with the other goods. So I would like to know the current real-time situation of where my shipment is and how much time it can actually take in order to get the consignee the designated goods. So here in the overview, we will be first seeing the house airway bill. So house airway bill is nothing but a freight forwarder who offers a consolidation service will issue its own airway bill ID, its own tracking or a tracing ID. This ID is called as an house airway bill. For an ordering party or a shipper, freight forwarder will act as a deemed carrier who will be taking up the responsibility of transporting the goods on behalf of the shipper or the ordering party. He can physically transport the goods if he has got his own fleet, or if he doesn't have his own fleet, he can just subcontract it to a third party carrier who will be doing it on behalf of him. But the document that will be there as an issued contract between the ordering party, shipper or the freight forwarder is called as an house airway bill. And the next is the master airway bill. So the freight forwarder in turn enters into the contract with the transportation service provider or a carrier who will be physically transporting the goods on behalf of the freight forwarder for the ordering party or the shipper. That will often depend upon the mode of transportation that is being used. Whether if it is ocean, then it will be a house bill of lading, or if it's air, then it will be airway bill ID generation. Depending upon the mode of transportation, we will be having the tracking ID differently. So this contract between the carriage and the freight forwarder is called as a master airway bill. So the next is the customizing and the master data setup. For the house airway bill generation, there are two different setups that will be needed. The first is the definition of a waybill number range type. Uh, you can take, for example, when we are trying to create a forwarding order, you will be having your own unique forwarding order type, which will have a specific requirements as to how the forwarding order has to be created with what all features in it. So similarly, when we create the waybill number range type, we define a specific set of requirements for that particular waybill number. And then we will be consuming this number range type in creation of the waybill stock, where we will be defining the number range between which the tracking ID has to be generated, or the HAWB number has to be generated. Also, we will give the details like the ordering party or the shipper, and then the organizational details. So how surveyable happens on the sales side, that is between the freight forwarder and the ordering party. Then the master airwayable. The master airwayable happens on the purchasing side, that is between the freight forwarder and the carrier. So we will be having the carrier details as well as the purchasing organizational details of the freight forwarder in this. So as we will be using an airline carrier, so we will have to have an IATA defined airline code for that particular carrier who is going to provide the shipment. So that is an extra customizing in the master airway bill. Else, rest apart, everything remains the same. We'll be going through the process demo. So before going to the process, we can go through the master data or the customizing steps that we would be doing. So this is the SAP TM system. I will go into the customizing S Pro. Go to the SAP Transportation Management, master data, and then we'll go to this waybill stock. So here we can see the first customizing which I was talking about, the define waybill number stock type. I'll just click on it. So here you can see the different stock types that have been already created in the system. So first I will be going to the HAWB, since we are going to create a house airway bill and a master airway bill. So we will be seeing those two. So the stock type is HAWB. In the description, the mode of transportation is air. Stock category, whether it's a waybill number or a tracking number. We will be selecting it's a waybill number. The organizational category, it is sales, since it is on the sales side between the ordering party and the freight forwarder. Next is the check digit, which is like a checksum in order to check the relevancy of that particular tracking ID. Then whether we want the prefix to be enabled. If we are enabling the prefix, then it will be appended in uh, the number which we will be getting generated as a prefix to it. Then the length of the number that has to be generated, it is 10. Next is the master airway bill. So more or less everything remains the same. The only difference is the organizational category. That is there it was sales and here it is the purchasing. And prefix enabling the prefix is not mandatory. It is optional for the master airway bill. And no check digit is required for this. And the number length is 7. So once we define this stock type, we'll be going to the waybill stock. So we can go to this overview of the waybill stock. So here I will first go to the house waybill stocks. Then I will select my entry TAL, which is the stock ID. So here you can see the stock ID is TAL. Then we have the prefix, that's a 3-digit prefix TLI. Then the number that has to be generated for the house surveyable. So here we have given a 7-digit number from which is from number to to number. So the remaining, as it was a 10-digit number, the remainings will be appended by zeros. The valid dates between which this airway bill is valid, and then the sales organization and the ordering party, between which the combination of these two, the airway bill ID has to be generated appropriately. And the details tab shows the previously generated forwarding order for which this airway bill document has been used in order to consume the waybill numbers. Here we can see the transportation mode, which is aptly 05. So before we go to the master airway bill, there was one customizing with related to BP. So the customizing we will be doing is, let us take the FedEx as the business partner or the carrier in this case. I'll change the carrier. So I will be taking TM underscore CARR underscore 01 as the carrier in this particular context. And I will be going to the identification tab of this particular carrier. And here if I scroll down, we can see that I have maintained the ID type as well as the identification number, which is the airline code for Lufthansa. We can create the airline codes in Espero itself. Go to master data, go to business partners, and here we can see define IATA airline codes. So here we have created it for Lufthansa. It's an IATA member, a check digit is allowed, prefix is also enabled, and its validity dates between which this particular airline code is valid. So once we do this particular setup, we can then go and check the master waybill stock. I'll select MAWB. So here we can see the stock ID as MAWB, prefix is LFA, then the number ranges between which it has to generate the waybill number, the validity dates, the transportation mode is 05, and the airline code is LF, which is for Lufthansa. And then we have maintained the purchasing organization and the carrier details, between which the combination of it will be generating the ID. And then the details, the previously generated freight bookings for air, for which the MAWB as the waybill ID has been generated, and it shows the status which is used. So this is the different customizing setup that has to be done for the waybill ID generation process. So now I will show you how the house air waybill gets generated. We'll go to the creation of air forwarding order. I will copy the forwarding order from an existing one, and then we can see the relevant details that we have maintained in that particular forwarding order. So this is the forwarding order ending with 206. I'll just copy this forwarding order type with TL01 is the document type for this particular forwarding order. So here it has created a new forwarding order. It has copied all the relevant details from the previous forwarding order. So we can see the order date as the today's date, which is the system date. Then the sales organization is 52. The transportation mode is 05. There is a airway consolidation, which is normal. And then we have maintained the product which has to be shipped. And the next important step is the business partner, because the combination of the sales organization and the ordering party is what is going to fetch that house air waybill ID for that particular waybill stock which we have defined. So here in this general data you can check, okay, in this business partner the ordering party is TM CUS01, which is the one which we have defined there. If I go to the general data tab, you can see that the HAWB number is blank and it is not finalized yet. I'll just click on save and create this forwarding order document. It is giving me a success message telling that the data has been saved successfully. Now I click on edit. And I will go to this arrow, and here we can see HAWB. So here I will just click on draw HAWB number. So now here you can see that the HAWB number has been generated for this particular forwarding order. You can see that the prefix has been enabled with TLI, which was the prefix, and as it was a 7-digit number, it has initially picked the 7 digits, and then it has also added a checksum as 4, and since it has to be a 10-digit HAWB number which has to be generated, it has appended 3 zeros in front of it. Thus it has prepared this total package of HAWB number. Just click on save. It shows that the data has been saved successfully. And here if I go to the HAWB tab, we can check that the freight unit which had been created for this particular forwarding order is associated with the house bill of lading or the HAWB number which has got generated for this particular forwarding order document, which is ending with 352. Now if I just go to the waybill stock, we can see that this number has been consumed in the document. Similarly, we can create for the air freight booking the master air waybill. So I'll go to this house waybill stock. I will navigate to the my entry, which is TAL. And here we can check the forwarding order ending with 352. The status it shows is used. This is the freight document adjacent to that forwarding order, and this is the number range that has been generated. So you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, the last digit is the checksum digit which is getting appended in the end, and TLI is the prefix which is getting added in the initial, and the remaining is the 10-digit HAWB number. So similarly, we will be creating for the master air waybill. So I will be taking the air booking which I have already created, and click on continue. So I'll just click on copy. All the relevant details in this particular air booking will get copied into the new one. So a new pop-up or a new screen has opened for the new air freight booking which has to be created. So we will have to check the relevant details in this air booking, like the carrier and then the purchasing organization, because for a combination of those two itself, it will be generating the value. I'll remove this service level. It is not required. So here we can check the issuing airline code is TM carrier 01, and for this we had maintained the LF as the identification number for the Lufthansa carrier with which this it is associated with. That is the IATA code. So here we will be just first of all clicking on save in order to create this air booking document. So the carrier is TM carrier 01. We will be checking the purchasing organization, whether it is the one which we had maintained in the master airway bill, that is ending with 29. I'll be going to the comprehensive view or the detailed view for this particular booking. And then I will navigate to the operations tab. And here we can see the purchasing organization is 29. So this is the one for which the combination of this carrier and purchasing organization, we have to generate a master airway bill number. I will navigate to the bookings tab. Then I will go to this follow-up and just click on this draw MAWB number. So here you can see the success message that the master airway number with so and so has been determined, and appropriately it has populated in this booking document. Now since we had disabled the check digit as well as the prefix for master airway bill in the waybill number range type which we had defined in S Pro, it has just picked the 7-digit number for the master airway bill without appending or adding any prefix or a suffix. I'll just click on save of this air booking document, and then we can check in the master airway bill whether this number has got consumed or not. So here we can see that 51 is the booking which we had created, and appropriately it has taken the number as 45. So the number how it has got generated is LFA is the prefix for this master airway bill, and this is the number which has got generated. So it has appended together in order to make a number. Now since we have defined here that the enable prefix is checked for this particular waybill stock, it has overridden the number range type settings that we had maintained, and appropriately it has created a master air waybill number for this particular air booking. So this is how the master air waybill got generated for the air booking document. That was the end of the demo. So the summary of things that we have learned. How the waybill ID is getting generated for a particular combination of a sales organization or an ordering party, or for the purchasing side, it can be a carrier and a purchasing organization of the freight forwarder, and how a freight forwarder acts as an intermediate entity in getting the transportation shipment completed from one end to the another end. Or the contact details if you want to contact Crypt Incorporated. That is the Crypt website, www.cryptinc.com. And if you have any queries, you can mail us at callcrypt@cryptinc.com. This is a serious venture that Crypt Incorporated is taking into account, and there will be further more informative sessions on different functionalities in SAP TM. So watch out. Thank you.